Hello, Mount Rudmore here, aka Nick, and I'm back to talk about BB26. Now, I haven't done a stream in a couple days. I believe it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. That was my last one. I want to say Tuesday. Um, but yeah, I'm still on vacation. Today's my last day. In fact, we're packing up to leave, but I have just enough time to cram one in today. So yeah, been busy the last few days. Haven't been keeping up with it as much as I should have been. Well, as much as I normally do. I should have been hanging out with my family, and I was. Uh, but yeah, I've been catching up as best I could, and I'm here to cover what I've been talking about, cover what I need to talk about since my last stream. And I have two episodes to go over, so I'm going to start with the first one, Wednesday night's episode, the veto episode. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. First of all, the veto competition itself. Kenny walked away with that. Like they they showed in the beginning like a demonstration of a way to do it, and then Kenny actually doing it and being the only one to do it in that way. That was like a dead giveaway that he was going to win this competition. I mean, granted, I already knew he was going to win since, been keeping up with the feeds, but they definitely put a bit of a hint in there that he was going to win. Um, Also, we finally got some more clarity. I say more clarity, but not all the clarity about the whole Angela versus Quinn thing from a few days prior. Angela just said that's the group about Cam, Cedric, and Chelsea, and T-Core. And she told Quinn about it, and she tried to explain, like, this is the group I wanted to work with, but she did not really say it in that way, so it was kind of left up to interpretation. And when T-Core and Angela start to talk about it, T-Core explains, that can kind of look a certain way when you lump us in together like that and just automatically assume things. And Angela is just devastated by the implication. And she's going around apologizing to everybody, trying to convince everybody she's not a racist. And for what it's worth, I don't believe there were racist intentions behind what Angela said. It was definitely a little bit ignorant, but I don't think it was racist. I don't think this was a full blown Kyle situation, which is what I thought it might have been from the whispers we had gotten before. Basically, I agree with what Cedric said. I don't think Angela is racist, but it was a bad game move. Fair. Very fair. And only other thing I want to talk about was like people were really condemning Quinn for his plan coming together, but it's like, you know, first of all, we still didn't get all the information, and it was kind of a manipulative edit. And I don't believe Quinn was deliberately using it in a racial way to try and bury Angela. I think he was just trying to generally bury Angela because she has been a bit of a thorn in his side ever since he blabbed about his power to her, which was a huge mistake. But yeah, just seeing people condemning Quinn for enjoying his plan coming to fruition, those people are very hypocritical considering how much they were enjoying Angela mocking Lisa in a non game way. So that just kind of tells me you don't care about the game, you just care about toxic behavior, which, you might care about if you yourself are kind of toxic. But that's just me. On to the feeds. Uh, the group of Quinn, Chemo, and T-Core finally has a name. The Visionaries. Rabina and Tucker are talked about to join the group, and also Brooklyn and Kenny even are considered as possible, if not members of the alliance, and at least numbers for it. Like, they might be like level 6, and they're talking about making Brooklyn and Kenny the Sam and JC of it. Like they're not official members, but they vote with them. Quinn at this point is starting to let Leah go because they haven't bonded since the one good conversation they had. But ironically, Leah is still talking about how she really wants to work with Quinn, and it's like, maybe let him know that. Uh, we got more on the Kenny wanting to quit front, which I feel like we've been on Kenny wanting to quit watch for, at this point, over a week. Like, at this point in time, right now, as I'm talking to you, it's closing in on 2 weeks, I think. But when I wrote this, it was about a week and a half. But he says that he's not sure the $750,000 is worth it. Why did you apply, Kenny? What did you think this show was going to ask of you? Like, you knew, or at least you should have known, it's gonna lock you in a house for up to 3 months. Like, if you want to win, you got to be in the house for 3 months. So, what was the plan here, Kenny? What did you think was going to happen? And here's the thing I also came to the realization that I did not want to be on Big Brother. Like, I woke up one day dreaming, like, I had just dreamt that I was cast on the show, and I woke up sweating. And that was my realization that I'm not meant to be on Big Brother. I think I've talked about this dream before, but that was my moment. I'm like, okay, Big Brother is not something I'm meant to be on, but just watch. And I realized that. I made my peace with it. Kenny really needed to realize that before he auditioned. So, yeah. I just I don't get why Kenny even auditions. Um, there's a bunch of people hanging out in the HOH room with Chelsea. They talk again about how annoying Lisa is and that Kenny has a real quitter attitude. Brooklyn makes a good point, saying it's disrespectful to the people who wanted to be on but weren't picked. So she's right. Like there are nowadays, this show's been on so long. There are people that have been wanting to be on Big Brother for most of their lives, and Kenny took a spot from one of those people. Tucker tells Chemo that Mackenzie has one of the powers. He also says that he thinks Quinn has the other power. So when Angela told him that Quinn had it, and Tucker was like, I don't believe you, it actually did seem to stick a little bit. And Chemo confirms to Tucker that Quinn does have the power. And I think Chemo only confirmed this because Tucker asked him directly. There's been some controversy, like, why hasn't Chemo told T-Core? And it's like, I don't think T-Core has directly asked yet. Hold on, I just saw something on my screen. There's a bit of dust. Yeah, if I didn't get it now, it's going to be annoying me for the rest of the stream. Uh, Chelsea has a Cam talk. I mean, well, she's talking to the camera, but she's also talking about Cam. So, sort of a double meaning when I say Cam talk. She says that she doesn't want to be associated with Cam too closely because of the Leah situation. Cam and Leah, they're still flirting it up because Lisa's just flirting it up with everybody, and Cam really seems to have taken the bait more than anyone else. So, so yeah, Chelsea is not really feeling Cam too much anymore. Like, we already knew the Pentagon was shaky because Quinn and Brooklyn have realized they're on the bottom of it. But even the core within the Pentagon, 3Cs, they are not as solid as, well, certainly as Cam would like to believe. Chelsea has been wary for a while. Cedric, he's starting to reconsider some stuff. So, yeah, it's just, this trio isn't as solid as some people thought it was going to be. And the Pentagon, I think that's a very small chance that the 5 members of the Pentagon are, in fact, the final 5. Very small chance of that happening. Kenny tells Lisa that he's gonna give America what they want if he wins HOH. And he's gonna be unpredictable. And let me tell you something, Kenny. America wants you to leave. At least the part of America that's watching the feeds wants you to leave. I keep spitting on my phone where I have my notes. So yeah, Kenny saying that he's gonna be unpredictable, it's like no one cares. And besides, if Kenny were to win, Quinn would just hijack his HOH anyway. Like, there's no way Quinn would be like, yeah, a Kenny HOH. I'm okay with this. I'm going to let this happen. No, Quinn would hijack that HOH 100%. And Kenny would probably quit in that case, which would be kind of funny. Tucker tells Chelsea that Lisa does not have the power, but can't say who does. But he says he will if he leaves. Which got me thinking, what's to stop Chelsea from flipping this vote around behind his back so that on his way out he tells her? Hmm? Like, what's stopping Chelsea from doing that? I mean, it would have to be that she's just really close with Tucker and doesn't want him to leave, but, you know, that is, Tucker unknowingly gave Chelsea a possible reason to vote him out. Tucker also tells Rubina that Lisa does not have it. Angela, at this point, finally does some campaigning. And, she hasn't been the target, but she thought she was. So here she is finally doing something about it, instead of just laying down and accepting what she thinks is her fate, but likely isn't going to be her fate unless Lisa wins the AI arena. Chemo tells Quinn he should tell more people about his power. Quinn's a little unsure about this. And Chemo learns that Quinn has only told him and Angela. And, this could cause Quinn to lose trust in Chemo if he finds out that Chemo told Tucker about it. So that's something that's possibly dangling over this relationship. This was more evidence of Kenny just trying to get himself taken out of the house and further asking the question, why did he win the veto? The have-nots celebrate coming off have-nots, like they get to eat real food again. Kenny at this point was in bed. And he gets up and he yells at everybody. And I'm like, you're trying to get voted out. You don't want to be kept in this game, but you don't want to just quit because they're gonna pay you less. If anything. I don't really know how it works, but it's like Kenny's game, like, I don't feel comfortable calling it a game, to be honest. Like, he's just here. And I'd say he's here for vibes, but he's not. Like, I'd say he's here for a good time, not a long time, but he's not having a good time. I fail to understand what Kenny's here for. Um, Joseph says the collective should meet, or people will start to think that it's fake. And I'm like, bro, you're about 2 weeks behind at this point. That alliance is long dead. But he wants to get it back together without Angela. And it's like, again, everyone in the collective has kind of moved on. People like Quinn, Chemo, and T-Core, they've got their own thing going now. Yeah, it's just Joseph is a little bit behind. Lisa tells Mackenzie that she wants to win the AI arena and then win HOH. And That's what she needs to do. Otherwise, she's next. Like even if she wins the AI arena, but not head of household, then she could very well be the next. She could very well be the target again next week. So yeah, that's what she needs to do to win both. And she does a cam talk about how she's manifesting her win, and she gives Lady Gaga a shout out. And every time I think I want Angela out more than Lisa, I hear Lisa talk again, and I'm reminded, oh yeah, she's also a real headache to deal with and listen to. So we get to the eviction episodes. We get the clip of Angela calling Lisa a twit, uncalled for. Lisa crying a bit too much over it. Like it's twit, not that word, but with an A instead of an I, which is not TV friendly, at least not in the United States. I think it's more popular, or at least more culturally acceptable in the UK. But yeah, I find both Angela and Lisa incredibly obnoxious in this episode. Of like, I agree with Chelsea. Is there any way we can get rid of them both? So we get to the AI arena. It's between Angela, Lisa, and Tucker. It's basically a puzzle. They just have to line things up on a screen and then put the pieces on in the right way and then hit a button. First one to do it wins. And Tucker ran away with this competition. Like it was not close. I mean, Angela, I knew right away. Like before I knew Tucker was going to win, I knew Angela was not going to win because she started by going for the puzzle pieces instead of moving the screen around. So like in the first second, I knew Angela was not going to win. And it took me about maybe 10 seconds tops to realize that Tucker was going to win. And he did. And he's like, I love puzzles. I love puzzles. I just did a puzzle. I won a puzzle comp. Puzzles. You know I'm going to do my Tucker impression whenever I can. So, yeah. Tucker wins decisively. The house finds out. Another celebration. Everybody wanted Tucker to win. And it's just as big a celebration as it was with chemo. And there was a little bit of me that wanted to see Lisa win and just get crickets from the house because that's what would have happened. So that was another reason I wanted not just for Lisa to stay, but for her to actually win the arena and go into the house and get nothing. It'd be like when Cameron won his second HOH last season, and he's just like, yeah, and then you see everyone around him like. So we get to the eviction. I spat on my laptop. I have a problem today. I'm sorry. We get to the eviction. Kenny votes to evict Angela because Kenny and Angela have not gone along this whole time. But everybody else votes to evict Lisa, including Quinn, in his words. I vote to evict Lisa for some reason. So, votes are in. Julie reveals the results. There's no awkward Joseph moment where he just stands in the hallway for some reason. The last one to vote was T-Core, and she just walks out and goes and sits down like you're supposed to. Julie reads the votes. It's 11-1. Lisa, you have been evicted from the Big Brother house, and I wasn't sure at first if I wanted to call this a blindside, but yeah, it was. It didn't have to be. It's just Lisa was so bad at reading the game and reading other people in it. But it was also a blindside for Angela, who could not believe that she survived. So I went from thinking this wasn't a blindside to realizing it was a double blindside. So Lisa does not look happy. I don't think she said a word to anybody. She gives very reluctant hugs. Tucker was the first one to hug her. Like, okay, Tucker, way to hide just how much you hated her. Very slick. And after she leaves, you see Tucker in the door just going, uh, I love Tucker. I love him so much. So much. And also worth noting, I thought Angela was going to out Quinn even if she survived. Like I thought in her speech as to why she shouldn't be evicted, I thought she would out Quinn, but she doesn't. She definitely would have if she was actually voted out. But as it stands, she did not do it. And Quinn's power is, I'll say, still not known by the whole house, but it's known by probably more people than should know about it by now. So eventually the feeds go down for the HOH competition. From what I've gathered, it was the balance beam competition. And the winner is Cedric. Yay! Someone from my draft team won. He was the last pick on my draft team, but he's on my team. Hey, Tom Brady was like the 199th pick in the NFL draft, and he became the greatest quarterback of all time. So you never can tell. Now, with Cedric winning, this much talked about group of Quinn, T-Core, and Chemo, and then Rabina and Tucker, it's going to have a hard time taking shape now. Like, they've been talking about it for so long, but they never really pulled the trigger on it, and now it's going to be kind of difficult to do that. I wouldn't say it's impossible to do that, but you got to make sure that none of you are on the block. But we'll get to that. Cedric tells Mackenzie that Angela is an easy nominee. He's not sure about the other two, but he's gonna. He says he's gonna talk to Kenny, probably because he expects to he expects Kenny to volunteer again. Mackenzie suspects T-Core or Quinn has a power, and she confesses her own power. And at this point, I think she's told everybody except Kenny, who is actually like a semi quasi ally of hers. I mean, they were both really close to Matt, so they're at least like allies in law. Is that a thing? Like, did I just make that up? I like that. Allies in law. I think I might make that the name of this stream. Anyway, Cedric goes on to tell Chelsea about Mackenzie's power. Says he's definitely putting up Angela, maybe Kenny, and he's thinking about either Leah, although he's worried about Mackenzie using her power to save her, or possibly Rabina, who he hasn't been especially close to throughout the game. Cedric talks to Kenny, who, with little to no prompting, says, "My head's not in the game. I want to go home." Good job, Kenny. Boston Week. You know what? Maybe that should be the name. Boston Week. Just I hate I hate to try to use quitters in a positive way. Well, okay, I'll use one quitter in a more positive way. Megan from BB19, she had an anxiety attack that was caused by so many people in the house bullying her for no reason, and it triggered her PTSD that she had when she was in the military, and she had to leave. And this is the quit that I am really hesitant to use in a positive example, but Paloma was not sleeping well. She was coming unglued, and she left probably for the best. Kenny is just miserable. He shouldn't have applied. He shouldn't have come out here. He I don't even think he should be watching the show, to be perfectly honest. It's like he his his wife made him a fan, but it's like do you really think she's gonna enjoy watching you keep talking about quitting? So Kenny admits that he's not a food truck owner, and he tells Cedric to guess. Cedric says, "Detective." Kenny fist bumps him. In case you didn't notice, I got a sunburn on my hands. I missed a spot putting sunscreen on yesterday. And in return, Cedric confesses to being a Marine. So Cedric actually has been good at keeping a secret. In fact, I forgot about this secret. And he's only told Kenny, and, remember, Cedric was the one who clocked Kenny's tattoo in the first place as being either a cop or in the military. So I feel like with that American flag tattoo bond, I think Kenny will actually keep Cedric's secret when he leaves on Thursday, one way or another. Whether they vote him out or he leaves, I think Kenny is leaving this week. Like whether he walks from the game, I mean, like outright quitting. Tucker talks to Cedric, and he says he should put up Mackenzie to flush her power. And Cedric is not interested. And it's like, what is Mackenzie gonna do gameplay wise after her power is either used or expires? Like she's just been coasting on this power to keep herself safe. What is she gonna do after the power? And it's so frustrating because the way she keeps holding this power over first Chelsea's and now Cedric's heads is that the gameplay has really kind of stalled into a holding pattern. It's like there was a lot going on the first week. It's slowed down a lot in the second week, and now it's basically stopped. So it's like we really need this power to go away, whether Mackenzie uses it or it expires. We need it gone. And personally, I'd be like, after, because I'm sure by this point, if I was in there, I'd probably know because everybody knows, unless I was the Kenny. I'd be like, I don't like the way Mackenzie is dangling this power in front of everybody's face. So I'm thinking, as soon as it's gone, we just get rid of her right away because we're kind of sick of her. It's like, what are you gonna do now? What's your gameplay now? But that's just me. Cam tells Brooklyn he likes the idea of Rubina going up. Brooklyn does not like it, and she suggests Joseph. And to be fair, Joseph not really in with anybody, despite what he may think. So it does sort of make sense. Um, but Joseph does get a little bit of a leg up via Tucker telling him that Quinn has the other power. And I hinted at this before, but Quinn not keeping his mouth shut about this power was a huge mistake. Like, this was a really good power. If I got this power, I wouldn't tell anybody. Okay? I I would tell the diary room, and that's it. I would talk to each HOH, try to get a feel for where their head's at, and if I don't like what I hear, I'm hijacking it. So yeah, I would have done everything I possibly could to keep the scent off of myself. Quinn has told too many people. I mean, telling Angela was a huge mistake. Like, he definitely didn't know her long enough. T-Core tells Cedric that she doesn't want Rubina to be nominated. Cedric admits he's considering Leah because Mackenzie not using her power on her could possibly drive a wedge between them, and plus, if she does use it, like, yay, power flushed. Angela, once again, says, I understand if I have to be a nominee. And I'm like, this is getting Kenny adjacent. Like, you gotta push, okay? If it happens, it happens, but you really gotta push back. Like, Angela has not cast a vote yet, okay? She has not cast a vote to evict. She was HOH week 1. She was nominated last week. So, like, Angela, try to make it so you can actually cast a vote. I mean, granted, there is still the veto and the AI arena, but still, I just feel like Angela should be trying a little harder than she is. And like I said, I just find it Kenny adjacent, and it's another reason why I am not as hyped up on Angela as everyone else is. I think she also has a bit of a quitter attitude. It's like she's not really trying too hard to stay. The only thing she really tries to do is push people's buttons. And like if there's no real gameplay purpose, then you're just a troll. And if you're just a troll, then I can just stay on Twitter and see a million of you. Cedric and Joseph talk. Joseph thinks that Rabina is in with Quinn, T-Core, and Chemo. And, again, this was almost an alliance, but they dragged their feet too long. So it really isn't an alliance per se. And the fact they're being noticed before even forming does kind of hinder the possibility of it becoming a real alliance. Or if it does, keeps it from becoming a powerful alliance. Like, they'd have to just win out at this point. Cedric talks to Leah, and he tries to lead her into volunteering as the third nominee because he needs a pawn. But Leah does not take the bait. She she wants Rabina, or to a lesser extent, Joseph. Oh, sorry, I I got my wires crossed. She volunteers Cam. So this whole flirt thing going on, she's really willing to cut him loose. So yeah, she is kind of using at least Cam, but it might just be a thing of trying to just use the men in the house. From here, Cedric talks to Cam, and ironically, Cam says, "Don't put up Leah." He's the one who wants Rabina, or to a lesser extent, Joseph. And they suspect Quinn has the power, and they wonder why he hasn't told them yet, considering, hello, Pentagon. I'm trying to think. Has Quinn told anyone within the Pentagon about his power? He told Angela and Chemo. Tucker and Joseph no. And I think that's it. I don't think he's told anybody in the Pentagon about it. So, yeah, again, I think that Quinn should have told no people, but he definitely shouldn't have been telling the wrong people. I mean, I don't think Chemo was necessarily wrong, but Angela was definitely wrong. And you know what? Yeah, I think Chemo was wrong because he ratted him out. But I mean, I guess maybe Quinn thought he could trust him. Cedric and Quinn talk, and remember at this point they have a final two with each other. They want to be like the hitmen. Cedric tries to lead Quinn. Again, Q is how he's abbreviated in my phone. Tries to lead Quinn into confessing his power. But what Quinn confesses is that Kenny thinks that Brooklyn is running a women's alliance. And I'm like, Quinn, this is actually a time when you should have mentioned your power. It really could have built some more trust between you and Cedric. Because he's kind of onto you at this point. And Quinn suggests that Joseph be a pawn, which could hide their relationship better, like between the three of them. Like, yeah, Joseph's close with us, but if we just make him a pawn, people won't know we're close to him. Brooklyn is really pushing Joseph as a pawn. Cedric warns her about Kenny's theory about her, that she's running an all-female alliance. Cedric goes and asks Joseph to be a pawn. And Joseph says, what you probably should say. No. He says that that would make him an easy future nominee. Like, when someone needs another nominee, they'll just be like, put up Joseph. Why not? He's been there before. And Cedric seems to be coming back to Rubina. Now, yesterday, Friday, that was really the day that I spent a lot of time outside and not looking at updates. So, this is when I was a little out of the loop. So, I'm really just going off what I was able to piece together. Like, from here, I'm going off what I was able to piece together off the internet. And from what I gathered, it was actually a pretty slow day. So, it actually was not the worst day to be away from Big Brother because I feel like I caught up and it wasn't too difficult. So here we go. Um, Tucker volunteers as a nominee again, which is the exact opposite of Joseph. Like, I feel like Joseph is playing a good game in that regard and a bad game in some others. Quinn, I mean, Tucker is playing a good game, I think, in regards to like the social aspects and getting his name out there so people want to work with him. But on the other hand, nominating yourself repeatedly is not wise, I think. It's like, you won the AI arena, but that's not going to be every competition, They aren't all going to be puzzles or biscuits. I like biscuits. I like puzzles. I like competitions. I like being a nominee. It's like, no, Tucker, please don't. Please don't do this. You're my first round draft pick, and I don't want anyone to get any clever ideas. Because even if he does start winning competitions, eventually people are going to be like, hey, Tucker's really good at competitions. Maybe he's too big a threat and we should get him out. Kenny says that he won't use the veto if he wins. And at this point, I'm thinking as a player, like I've gone from disappointing to bad to terrible. The word I'm going to use now for Kenny is disgraceful. He is a disgrace to this game. And I think Cedric should absolutely take him out because it will be absolutely blood free for him. Like, no one will be coming for Cedric. He'll be in a very good position going forward. And, is it the most exciting move? No. But it's a great move for Cedric to not get any blood on his hands. Cedric then proceeds to make a final three with Kenny and Tucker as he's preparing to nominate them. It's a bold strategy, Con. Let's see how it plays out. They call themselves the Shakers because they're going to shake up the game. Okay. I mean, I think this basically confirms Angela's the target, but I feel like with how much Kenny has been vocal about wanting to go home and how he hasn't really gone along with anybody since Matt, I think there's enough people in the house that are going to be like, you know what, let's just take Kenny out. Brooklyn is probably going to want that, and Brooklyn's very influential. She can make that happen if she really wants to. She can definitely get Rubina. She can definitely get, she can definitely get Mackenzie and Leah. She might be able to get Joseph. Uh, Not Quinn. I mean, obviously, if Angela comes off the block, then I think they'll settle for Kenny. So yeah, we get the nominees. It's Angela, Kenny, and Tucker. Not too surprising. Chelsea tells Cedric that she thinks Leah is playing a nasty game with her flirting. She says that she's trying to start an all-female alliance, but be protected by the men going forward. And I gotta say, like, trying to play the flirt game and like trying to play the protected by men game It's giving Franzel, and I don't like Franzel. But she won Big Brother twice. No, she won Big Brother once. Reindeer Games was not a real season of Big Brother. It was a very different game. Okay? So yeah, Leah's starting to remind me of Franzel, and I don't like that at all. And Chelsea suggests making Leah the renom if necessary, and maybe, possibly, even taking her out. So like Chelsea is fully done with Leah's shenanigans at this point. The women talk. This is what I was talking about before. I forgot I wrote it, but the women talk about how they want Kenny out because of how anti Women's Alliance he is. But Quinn, he's pushing for Angela because, again, Angela can still bury him at a moment's notice. So, Joseph. We finally get a substantial Joseph update. Because he is the only one who wanted to keep the collective going. And just a quick recap as to who is in the collective. And I saved a Dolphika map just so I still had it. It is Joseph, T-Core, Chemo, Quinn, Cam, Cedric, and Chelsea. Not Angela. They are done with Angela. Joseph wanted them, that group, together. But here's the thing. Chemo is not in this group at this time. He is asleep. He's not there for this meeting. And Brooklyn is there. Brooklyn, very good social player. She is just sort of accidentally in alliance meetings that, for alliances she's not in. And this makes Joseph worry that she's going to know she's at the bottom of this alliance. And he's right to be worried about that because she figured out she's at the bottom of the Pentagon alongside Quinn. So Joseph kind of leads the meeting. Nobody's super interested in it. But they agree that Angela is the target and Kenny can be next. They say that either Rabina or Leah should be the renom if necessary. Joseph says that they just shouldn't make it complicated, and he outright says the words, well, let's just make this boring. No, Joseph, make it interesting. You're the one who said when you voted out Matt, we're not going to make this like every other Big Brother season. And what he meant was we don't want the jocks dominating. But let me tell you something. I don't mind a jock dominating if he's interesting. I want an interesting season. Okay, Joseph? Just because you're not letting the 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 dude bro dominate the game doesn't mean you should make it boring. Like, yes, Matt running the game would have made it boring. But here's Joseph outright saying it should be boring. Like, no, it shouldn't be. And from here, Joseph goes on to tell Tucker about the meeting because he wants to use Tucker to take out some of the members of the collective. So Joseph definitely thinks he's playing like a masterful game, but the fact of the matter is he's still 2 weeks behind at this point. Everyone else has been making moves like this. They've been making alliances and side deals and tertiary deals. So yeah, Joseph is still very behind, and he doesn't realize it. He's kind of like Jag without comp ability, which is something I saw on Twitter, and it was a very valid point. All right, so that's all my notes. It's time for me to check some updates. I was trying to see if I could get this started after finding out who the veto players were. That didn't happen by the time I started. Oh my god, it feels like 100 degrees in my hometown. Yikes. I'm not in my hometown right now, but still. Well, it feels like 95 here. Dang. All right. Anyway, time to check updates. And if Brooklyn and Joseph were picked for the veto again, we need to open an investigation. All right, nothing on my main timeline. Let's go to BB updates. Well, they're still quiet. They haven't updated in 14 hours. And let's check the hashtag. All right, I'll check Hamster Watch because I'm not really getting anything from the feed. Just Rabina cleaned the kitchen for Tucker, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, this definitely means they're a thing." And who's to say? A lot of people are like, "Oh, we got the slow burn going, like Taylor and Joseph." Okay, Hamster Watch 14 minutes ago said that feeds went down for the veto players to be picked. All right, so I guess the stream will not have me covering who's going to be playing in today's veto. That'll be the next one, which will probably be Monday. I'm going to really try to get back into the habit of doing it every other day. It's just when I've tried to do that, it's like sometimes I'd go 2 days without really having a lot of notes. But I'm gonna really try to make it work. Um, all I want to say is about this season, it started really strong, but it's just really slowing down a lot. But I do believe it will pick up after these powers have either been activated or have expired. Because, like I said earlier, we're just sort of in a holding pattern. And that has to be the name of this stream now that I think about it. So, that's all I got for you. Thank you to my one viewer for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at NickGrindsYT. I have links to my YouTube and Twitch channels there. You can catch up on all my streams on YouTube if you missed any. And yeah, that will do it for me. I will see you next time. Now I gotta start packing up to head home. Peace out.